The political and cultural landscape in the United States was shaken this week after late-night host Jimmy Kimmel's show was suddenly pulled from ABC. Less than 24 hours later, new footage of Kimmel surfaced, showing him away from the spotlight while the controversy continued to grow. The move came under direct pressure from the Trump administration, which has made clear that the fight is far from over. President Donald Trump escalated the matter, openly threatening more television networks. Trump said, "They give me only bad policy press." I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. According to the president, it would ultimately fall on Brendan Carr, a commissioner at the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, to decide. Trump mentioned Carr by name, signaling that his administration was leaning on the FCC as an instrument of political pressure. Carr, who has served as one of the FCC's most vocal figures on issues of regulation and free speech, has appeared in recent days to take a sharply different stance. He has made comments suggesting the FCC could force networks to comply under the guise of acting in the public interest. Brendan Carr warned, "Any license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with an obligation to operate in the public interest." But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Threats like this represent a dramatic shift from Carr's earlier positions. In December 2023, Carr had written in defense of speech protections, insisting, "Free speech is a counterweight. It is the check on government control. That is why censorship is the authoritarian's dream." The sudden reversal, critics argue, reveals how political pressure is reshaping regulatory language. What triggered this latest escalation was a segment from Kimmel's show in which the host criticized attempts by right-wing commentators to reframe the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel said, "We had some new lows over the weekend, with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." This remark, viewed as blunt but far from extreme, provoked Carr's warning to ABC. The irony of Kimmel's suspension becomes starker when placed against comments made in the past by conservative media figures. In 2021, Fox News host Jesse Watters went on air with violent rhetoric directed at Dr. Anthony Fauci. Jesse Watters said, "Now you go in for the kill shot with an ambush, deadly because he doesn't see it coming. This is when you say, Dr. Fauci, you funded risky research at a sloppy Chinese lab. Boom. He is dead. He is dead. He's done." Instead of punishment, Watters was later promoted. Similarly, when Paul Pelosi, husband of former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, was brutally attacked in 2022, some on the right mocked the incident. Donald Trump Jr. shared a Halloween post of a hammer costume, while Elon Musk, just days after acquiring Twitter, promoted a conspiracy theory about the attack. Elon Musk claimed, "There is a tiny possibility there might be more to this story than meets the eye." The article Musk linked to suggested, without any factual basis, that the attack was the result of a sexual encounter. Despite these inflammatory and false claims, the government did not act to silence or punish those figures. Critics now argue that the targeting of Kimmel was selective and politically motivated. Trump's hostility toward Kimmel is not new. Over the years, he has repeatedly mocked the late-night comedian. Trump has said, "Kimmel has no talent. Jimmy Kimmel is a loser." It shows practically dead because nobody that likes Trump will watch Jimmy Kimmel. The feud has spanned 7 years, but now Trump, as president, has wielded the power of his office to finally silence Kimmel, at least temporarily. In Los Angeles, industry insiders reacted with disbelief. Entertainment journalist Elizabeth Wagg reported that executives at ABC and Disney were left with little choice. Elizabeth Wagg explained, "Everyone that I am talking to in Hollywood is really just horrified over this entire situation. They cannot believe that Jimmy Kimmel has been pulled off the air." But what I am hearing is that ABC is very hopeful. They really want to figure out a path forward. They love Jimmy. They want Jimmy to come back. But with the threats from the FCC, they felt like they had no choice. Sources confirmed that the decision was ultimately made by Disney CEO Bob Iger and executive Dana Walden. Walden, who has a long relationship with Kimmel, personally called him with the news. According to industry insiders, ABC feared the threats could extend beyond Kimmel's show to the network's broader programming and even its employees. WAG added that Trump himself appeared to confirm the personal nature of the feud by posting on Truth Social about an Oscars joke Kimmel had made years earlier. Elizabeth Wagg said, "It's not just about the comments this week, it's about years and years of insults." Not everyone at the FCC agreed with Carr's position. Commissioner Ana Gomez publicly rejected the notion that the FCC had the authority to silence broadcasters. Ana Gomez stated, "First of all, we don't license the networks. We license local broadcasters, so there is no license to pull for the networks. The local broadcasters get some programming from the networks. But second of all, we are governed by the First Amendment and by the Communications Act, which prohibits us from censoring broadcasters. So no, we cannot pull local broadcasters' licenses simply because they air content that he does not like." Gomez stressed that the threats were not only baseless, but also dangerous to democratic principles. Ana Gomez said, "The threats are the point, and the capitulation is so disappointing because what we are doing is eroding little by little the freedom of the press, the freedom of speech on which our democracy relies. We need the fourth estate to push back against the likes of me, to hold me and the government to account." The silencing of Kimmel, even temporarily, has alarmed advocates of free expression. At its core, this controversy is not just about a late-night comedian, but about the precedent it sets. Networks may feel pressured to preemptively censor programming that could attract political retaliation. The wider concern is that threats, rather than legal authority, are enough to intimidate major corporations. While the FCC may not have the power to pull a network license, it does have significant influence over mergers and regulatory approvals. Those levers, even if indirect, are enough to create fear. Critics argue this is precisely what happened. The threat itself, not the law, did the silencing. And in doing so, the episode raises urgent questions about the future of free expression in America. If late-night comedy can be muted under political pressure, what else can be silenced next? The Kimmel saga is not just about television or partisan feuds. It is about the erosion of one of the bedrocks of democracy, the ability to speak freely, criticize those in power, and do so without fear of government retaliation. The fight is ongoing. Networks, regulators, and comedians alike now stand at a crossroads. Whether they push back or retreat will determine how free America's speech really is in the years to come.